Tahani, can you share with us how you got started on your path from where you are for your real estate path? So the gentleman, he convinced you to get involved in the real estate. So you had grown a couple of successful stores, a dollar store and your husband's convenience store. So once you started into the real estate game, sort of what challenges did you have to overcome into getting into that as a realtor? And then let's talk about transitioning from just being a realtor to owning your own brokerage, becoming a land developer, becoming an investor. So let's talk about sort of that segment of your life.
Well, what happened is when I got into the real estate industry as a realtor, actually by then I did not even know how to sell a house. I've never bought a house. I've never sold a house. It was always my ex-husband saying, go sign the papers at the lawyer's office. And I did not know anything else other than that. So that was a challenge because I've never actually gone through the process itself. The other challenge was I felt that I was in an area where it was mostly white people, I should say, and hardly any foreigners. So it was difficult to also get into that area. And I remember, John, talking about struggles. Mm-hmm. Somebody told me once that, you know what, Tahani, you should actually change your name from a Tahani. Tina, what is that noise? Do you hear the noise, John?
Sorry, what was it?
Do you hear the noise or not? Just only me, I hear the noise.
No, I don't hear any noise. No, sorry.
Okay. So the gentleman goes to me, in order for you to really break into this industry and be successful, you have to change your name from a Tahani to a Tina. Oh, okay. And I'm like, but even if I do, I know that's crazy, right? Yeah. I said to him, but even if I change it to a Tina, when they meet me, they're going to see that I look like a Tahani. And with my accent, it is a Tahani. So it's like I can't really fool them. Yeah. I'm not going to change who I am. And another thing, too, that I had, even though the foreigners or the white people did not want to really accept that I am actually of a different nationality with an accent and all of that, but also my own family and my own community did not want to support me because they thought she's a woman and how she gonna, like the men did not want to deal with a woman. The men did not, like, they thought like, I don't know if she can actually, help us, when it comes to these big decisions, and that is owning a property and all of that. So it was a lot of struggles on both sides. But I kept at it. It took me 6 months, John, until I got my first deal. 6 months of every single day sitting, cold calling, door knocking, and doing something until I got my first deal. And I can't even imagine what my life would be if I would have gave up.
No, exactly. That definitely, the perseverance, the consistent persistence definitely paid off. So your first deal, is it you picked up a home to sell, or you picked up a client to help them buy a home? Okay, so...
No, I actually sold their house. I was door knocking, and finally the lady said, yes, come on in, and she really liked me, and I actually sold it, and that was the happiest moment. That gave me confidence. Yeah. And from there on, I knew that door knocking is way better than cold calling, because cold calling people did not want to be interrupted. They did not like to talk to me because they had my accent. But when they saw me, it was a different kind of, reaction I would get from them.
So
the thing that I've learned from that, John, is that if you're doing your business one way and it does not work, try a different way, because maybe you will find a different way that's going to work better for you, and then you'll succeed at it, better. Don't just keep doing something that does not work.
Yeah, doing the same thing over and over without getting any results is insanity. That's sort of what they say, right? So within 6 months, you got your first home. So how long after that did you get your next one? And were they starting to come more regular?
Away. Yes, right away almost. And then I'm starting, to get more houses. But then I would door knock a lot, and then I would get a bunch of houses to sell. And then after I sell them, then my business goes down, and then I would have to go door knock again to get more houses. And then when I get them, my business goes up, and then my business. So there was this cycle of up and down, And then I thought to myself, there's got to be a better way, than just only this. And even though I enjoyed it, but I did not love it. I thought, it's nice selling and everything, but I did not love it until one day I had my brother's house up for sale, and it was a semi. And I got an offer, and the offer was from a real estate investor. And it has, the lease option.
Yeah.
It had viewing few more times. It had, there's few things that, that working with real estate investors, we do our offers a little bit different than selling traditional houses.
Yes.
And that's when the lady told me, I hate working with real estate investors. They only look at the numbers. They're only, and then I'm like, real estate investors? That sounds very neat. I actually want more of those people.
Yeah.
And that's when the light bulb went on, and that's when I started looking for more real estate investors. And that's when I fell in love with the business, because it's all about being in business. It's all about the numbers. It's black and white. And that's when my business went exploded.
So how did you transition from, dealing with the average mom and pop or the average homeowner or buyer? How did you start to attract the investor clientele? Were you going to networking meetings, or what was your play to attract more of them to work with them on a regular, consistent basis?
Yes, it was actually all of that. It was, I went through a divorce around that time as well in 2002. And I started actually going, because I was left with 2 kids to raise. I was very, very focused at the time to do whatever it takes to make this work.
Okay.
And I actually at the time went, and I didn't think I actually could even, because after leaving my ex, I didn't have any money. I didn't think I was going to actually make it. I was really down. It was really tough, time. And I remember actually seeing the manager of a bank close to us, and God bless his soul, he said, Tahani, let me get you a mortgage, and then maybe you can get yourself a semi and put your kids in there instead of in an apartment. Okay. And I'm like, but I'm not good. I don't think I can actually, make the payments. And I would be crying. Anyways, he ended up getting me a mortgage. And at the time, John, you could buy a house with no money down, if you recall those times, you know? So that was lucky timing, perfect timing. And then I started working with real estate investors. I was a hustler. I became such a focused hustler. That's what your audience should know, is that if you need something, you got to go after it. Yeah. And then I would go and tell everybody around me, look, I would like to, sell your house or buy you a house, but just know, by me helping you, you're going to help me and help my kids. And then I attached the sale to something greater than just only the commission, and that is taking care of my kids. Yeah. And people connected with that, John.
Yeah, you got a much bigger why, and people can connect to your why better than they can connect to you just making money.
Exactly. And that's when people start saying, okay, you know what, let's do this. And one of those people was a previous friend of mine that I went to high school with, that I remember, another foreigner. And he says, I wanted to buy a house, an investment house, and this is what I'm looking for. And I said, whatever you're looking for, tell me, I'll go get it for you. And I did get it for him. And I remember him selling it after 3 months, making $48,000. And that's another bulb went on. Oh my God, this can be amazing. And I went head on looking for real estate investors, networking, actually mostly networking, because I knew for me, face-to-face is my strength. So it's mostly networking. And that's when, things start coming my way.
So when did you buy your first investment property? So the light bulb went on when the guy made 40-some thousand in 3 months. So how long after that did you actually think to yourself, well, hey, I should not only be looking for the investors, but I should become an investor myself?
2005. So it took, about 3 years or so. And what happened is I was selling, there was a small little development in the area I was selling. And the builder had his wife selling, and she had the site for about a whole year, and she was not selling any houses. And I would come back and I would go to him, George, it's me. My name is written on this, development. I got to sell it for you. And George would say, but my wife is a realtor. I can't give you the business. I have to give it to my wife. And I would go and I say, George, I would make you and your wife, happy people. Just let me sell the thing. And I would go and I would bring an offer and I would give to him, and then I would go back again and bring him another offer. Then finally he says, take it. And in 3 months, actually a little less than 3 months, about 2.5 months, I was able to sell about 49 houses for him.
Wow. That's some serious commission going on. 49 houses in about 3-4 months. Yeah.
Of course. Yes. And part of that is I told him I also want for me to keep a couple of houses until the, end of the development. And that's how my real estate investing, started. And that's how after, buying that semi, do you remember the semi?
Yeah.
4.5 years later, I paid it all off and I had 9 other houses.
Excellent. So when did you transition from just buying single family homes or semi-detached homes into becoming a land developer?
Actually, in 2009, I started my land development and I needed some cash because, as you're aware and most of your audience know, is that you need large sums of money to do development.
Yes.
So that's when I started selling some of my, houses or investments so that I can cash in and then start. And I started with a small piece of land and I built 6 townhouses on it.
Okay.
And that was, it was a crazy experience and I learned a lot from it. And then again, you do the same thing, repeat it again and again to the point where right now I'm working on a high-rise building with 89 units.
Wow. So when did you transition from just doing the real estate or just being a broker and doing the land development? When did you transition into the education component? Teaching people how to do this stuff.
I didn't transition. Yeah, I did not. I should say that I was still doing real estate and I still had my brokerage and my land development. Yeah, while I was teaching. And how about that came is Wiley and Sons, one of the largest business, publishers in North America. They came to me. They approached me to write a book for real estate investors on the importance of working with a realtor.
Okay.
And building a team. And I said, okay. And that's when my book came out called Real Estate Riches, a money-making game plan for the Canadian investor. And that book did so well and it became an Amazon bestseller.
Nice.
But what happened is I was being featured because of that book in a magazine that's only geared towards realtors, just only for realtors. And when that article came out, realtors from all across Canada start sending me emails, tweeting me, asking me questions. How do I do what I do? How do I work with real estate investors? Because there is no training for real estate investors in, our industry, specifically for, investors. And that's when, again, I came out for training for realtors. So the training for investors and the training for realtors came about as I was doing. What I was teaching is what I was passing on to my clients.
Excellent. So you're just basically taking exactly what you've done successfully over a period of time, leveraging your expertise and being able to teach it to other people.
Correct.
Still while you're still in the game, still making money through the brokerage, still doing land development, and then adding on an additional source by giving back to and helping out other people who are interested in doing the exact same thing.
Exactly. It's really for the impact. It's about paying it forward. I did not need the money from the training, but I was paying it forward so that people can learn what I've learned and then they can take it and apply it and transform their business. Therefore, they would transform their life.
Exactly. So what's next for Tahani? So, you've been successful in so many different things over the past years. What do you feel is your true purpose or calling in this world? So what do you want to share with others? So, talk about Tahani's future. Tell us about that story. My
future, what I'm so excited about. I mean, there's a lot to be thankful and excited about in my life, but the one that's really right now consuming most of my time is my new training for actually women entrepreneurs. And I wanted to help women to really step up, elevate, take responsibility of their life and again transform their lives as I have transformed mine, with no excuses of your background, of you having kids or no kids, if you having a husband or no husband, or whatever it is. If you really have it in your mind, we need to manifest it in this world, and then I'll share with them exactly what I've been doing as well to build few businesses to a 6, 7, and 8-figure businesses in my personal life.
Yeah, so you managed to do it all, balancing, a family life, 2 kids. You went to school. You're working a couple different jobs, opened a couple different stores. You still, you took your real estate license. You just were consistent on a persistent basis. You persevered through that. So there's really no excuse why anybody can't do a similar thing. I mean, you were new to the country, you had to learn the language. So for a lot of people, they just come up with excuses as to why they can't do it, when there is no excuse as to why they can't. It's just in their mind. It's their mindset. They just think that they can't do it, but in reality, if they are actually
it's fear. They're afraid of something.
Exactly.
Yes, exactly. And we need to dig deep into why they're afraid of whatever they're afraid of.
Excellent. So Tahani, do you have any closing remarks that you'd like to give to the audience, to the people watching? Anything that you'd like to say?
I truly believe anyone wants to attain, personal growth and business growth and make more money and create more wealth, because wealth is not just only money, it's also health is wealth,
That's right.
Having a great family is wealth, having amazing friends is wealth, So if anybody wants to create that, I believe it's absolutely attainable. It's just that you need to focus, put your heart and soul into it, and just go with all of your heart into what you want to do. So that's, it can be done.
Excellent. Well, that's all the time that I have for you today, Tahani. I want to personally thank you for being on the show and sharing your journey with us. It was great seeing you again. I know it's been too long since we got to catch up. So if you do have questions, just leave them in Facebook comments. If we're not live, then either myself or Tahani will follow up with you on whatever questions that you do have. Tahani, it's been great having you on the show, and I look forward to catching up with you again real soon. So Tahani, thank you, and for everyone else, just stick with me. Thank you. Just stick with me for a minute, and I will be right back after this quick transition. All right, you guys, thanks again for joining me on today's entrepreneurial journey with Tahani. Aburaneh. Tahani is a true inspiration to everyone, not just for women. She's a very sharp business person, but also has a heart of gold, and she's so giving of herself and has a willingness to share her inspirational message to others. As Napoleon Hill once said, every adversity, every failure, every heartache carries with it the seed of an equal or greater benefit. Tahani is living proof of this. The kinds of challenges, struggles, and adversity she has overcome to turn around and be as successful as she is a testament of her sheer will and her sheer determination. Now, in today's society, there's so much entitlement in our country, continent, and in our continent from people who are born here. For many of them, they think the government or the country owes them something, and they deserve more just because they were born in this country or in this continent. When the real harsh reality is nobody owes you anything because you were born here in Canada or the US. And the sooner people realize this, the better off our society will be. For entrepreneurs of the world, the immigrants who come here with nothing and put in their time, the effort, and do the work, we know this already. We're the ones who realize that if we want our lives or our situation to change, it's really up to us to make that happen. And as for us true entrepreneurs, we know that effort only fully realizes its reward after a person refuses to quit. So just like Tahani talked about refusing to give up when she was cold calling and knocking on doors, she refused to quit. So she definitely received the rewards after that. And when your desires are strong enough, you'll appear to possess superhuman powers to achieve what it is you want in your life. So with those quotes from Napoleon Hill, I just want to thank you for watching today's show and hope you'll join me tomorrow for another great hour when we talk to an entrepreneur, expert, speaker, author about their business and help them accelerate their authority. So until tomorrow, this is John A. McKay wishing you an amazing day, and remember, The space you occupy and the authority you exercise may be measured by mathematical exactness by the service you render. So have yourself an amazing day, and I look forward to seeing you on tomorrow's show.